Morning, everybody. See if I could do this talking over the fan. Well, you know what? I'll just turn the fan off. It's a little hot, but it's not too hot. So this will be the first 300-mile review of a 2022 ZX14R. As you know, replaced my Tracer 9GT that was just too uncomfortable. So I got this. That bobber, that's my wife's. That's my wife's. So I've got the ZX14 and I've got a 2021 R1. So what are my impressions? It's a hoot. First of all, it's way more comfortable than the Tracer, which is ironic because the Tracer is billed as a sport touring bike and has upright ergos and all that stuff. And I loved it riding around town, but it was starting to get to my neck. I just could not get comfortable on that bike, even with the $600 Corbin seat. Tried different bars, tried different bar positions. Could not make the Tracer work, which is a shame because up until that point where it started giving me neck and back issues, it was a fun little bike. But I liked having the luggage and cruise control and auto blip quick shift and heated grips and, you know, every bell and whistle. So I got this. What do I think of it? It's horrifically fast, but I'll tell you, it's a different kind of fast than this. So I've got a 2021 R1. We did the D-Cat. Well, it has the stock muffler. That's a wide open straight through pipe. The whole box underneath is gone. So we got a D-Cat. We got the ECU flashed and air filter and all that stuff. Got it dyno tuned. We're making 182 uncorrected, mind you. That's 182 actual at the wheel. I don't know that the ZX14 is actually faster than that. You know, this is stock, so maybe once I get a pipe and a tune and get it uncorked, maybe I'll be up in the 190s somewhere. And so, yeah, ultimately top speed with ram air, if I had a long enough stretch of interstate, I think that the ZX14 being more torque and power and better aero and wind protection would pass this. But anything accelerating like up to 160, I don't know. I think if you're doing a rolling start, the R1 will take it. Barely, but it'll take it because it's just lighter. It doesn't have the torque of that, but it does have as much, well, right now it probably has a couple horsepower more than that stock bike. So right now this will pull better. The difference though is that this is fighting wheelies and you have nowhere to hide from the wind, so the wind's clawing you and it's all twitchy and kind of, you know. So I was trying to think of analogies, and the analogy that I've come up with is, you know, you think about a leopard, or that's something that's just powerful. Take a leopard and give it, you know, give it steroids and crack. It's just this kind of thing that'll just, you know, rip you apart, right? Or think about something that's really, really purpose designed. Take a crocodile. Crocodiles are dinosaurs. They're one of the few remaining species, basically, that survived the last mass extinction event that wiped out the dinosaurs. Somehow they made it. And they made it because they are so well built for a purpose of survival and killing things and consuming them, that the crocodile is just an evolutionary marvel. It's at the pinnacle of evolution and design. That's what I feel like this is. And most people look at that and go, that's the most fearsome thing, you know, you're gonna run across because it's just so purpose-driven, it's so lethal. This is more like a hippo. And you think, oh, hippos are big, they're fat, they're slow. Well, in Africa every year, more people are killed by hippos than by crocodiles. And the reason is people underestimate this. This may not have that frantic, just high-strung, constantly pulling at the leash and, you know, thrashing about kind of thing that this bike does with 180 some horsepower, and it's 20 pounds heavier than a 600. This thing is so short and light and agile and nimble that it's just constantly, there's just constant drama, which is good. It's exciting and it's visceral and raw. This isn't. And so it lulls you into this sense of security because it's lower, it's long, it's heavy. You feel like it's so smooth. There is none of that just frantic. But like a hippo, it's nothing but pure muscle. And it's way faster than you can think. And it's way faster than you. You are not outrunning a hippo. And it will just grab you lazily with one chomp and pull you in half. So it may not thrash about and, you know, rip you up into little shreds, you know, like the Tasmanian devil whipping around, but it'll kill you just the same. That's how I feel about this thing. It is so planted. And I've just dialed in the suspension, and you'll see in the video, if Jake's video comes out decent, he was following me. I don't have a camera mount for this bike yet. The one that I have that mounts up in here, does not fit in there. It was just all over the place. I couldn't secure it enough. So there's not really a good place. I was in a rush, so I was like, we got there, and Jake luckily was running his GoPro, and he was following me. So we'll get to see some riding video. And you can see me sort of starting to put this thing through its paces. We ran it at a good clip, but they're new tires. It's a new bike. It is broken in. I don't do the 600-mile break-in shit. Cowie ran this bike on the dyno up to Redline before it left the factory. My first 50 miles, I baby it. From 50 to 100, I just kind of take it easy. Once 100 miles is on the clock, I just go to town and ride it. Now it's got 300 miles. My oil filters will be here tomorrow. Do a first oil change with, what are we gonna put in it? That Maxima Racing Pro Plus Plus full synthetic ester fortified oil. We're gonna put that in. Safety wire, the drill cap, the drain plug and the filler cap, and the filters are the high flow HF303 RCs that are already drilled for safety wire. So we'll start doing that stuff because I'm gonna take this thing on track. I am 50% of the way to convinced that I don't need that. This is just so smooth. It is so comfortable, and it is so fast, but it's not that drama kind of fast. I will say it does flick side. This is a big bike, but I'm 6'4" and 240 pounds plus gear. I'm not having any problem flicking this thing around through the turns, even tight switchbacks, and you'll see in some of the stuff we're watching on the video if it comes out. It's fine. It honestly is fine. I think if you were a short rider, if you were a smaller rider, this would be a handful to kind of whip around in the turns, and you're probably better off on something like this. But honestly, I didn't have a problem with it. I don't think, I was a little slower just because I'm still learning the bike. Those are S20s, not S22s, whereas here I've got Q3 Pluses. I know that this has been the suspension I've had set up for me by the pros at GMD CompuTrack. I trust those tires because I've been using Q2s and Q3s, Q3 Pluses for years. I know how far I can push this within my limits. I'm still learning the limits on this, but we weren't going much slower. Honestly, this was extremely capable. I'm gonna go to better tires. I'm gonna get probably the Pilot Road 6s in a 190/55, so pick the back up just a tiny bit, give me a much better profile and a better tire, and sharpen the steering just a smidge, and then get this over to GMD CompuTrack and have them dial in the suspension for me. Then we're gonna remove those cans, put on a set of slip-ons. We're gonna drop 30 pounds off, put in a BMC street filter, have Chris up at More Mafia work his magic and flash the ECU and make sure it's running right. But we should pick up, I don't know, 5-10 horsepower and lighten it by 30 pounds and have better tires. And what else was there? Weight reduction, better tires. Oh, and suspension setup, get all that done. This thing's gonna be fun. I'm gonna take it out on Road Atlanta. I'm already signed up for 2 more track days this year, in July and 1 in October. I'll take this on 1 because I haven't gotten this on track yet, and I think this is, you know, it's obviously made for that. But I think this is gonna do very well. And depending on how well it does, I may decide to sell this. I don't need to have 2 bikes. I could free up some money and free up some space in the garage and just have 1 bike to do everything. For a big guy like me, I don't know why I didn't go to these sooner, but this thing is just amazing. It's so fast, but it's not drama. You just give it gas and it just yanks your arms back, but there's no dips or power. It just whoosh and you're gone. Whereas this is like, bah! And it just, you know, it's just, you're fighting it, fighting the front to keep the front wheel down. You're getting head shake. The wind's just clawing at you. I hit 160 on this without even realizing it because I was tucked down. I was like, oh, what am I doing? Like 110, 120. And then I sat up and the wind caught me and almost blew me off the bike. It felt like, I was like, holy shit. I did not realize, A, how sneaky fast it is, but also how good that wind protection is. And that makes a big difference. When you're on the back straight of the track or just going, you know, you wick it up somewhere and you start getting up into triple digits. I'm a big dude. Even with the double bubble, there is nowhere for me to hide. This thing is narrow. The bike is aerodynamic for the bike, but with the rider on there, it is just clawing at me, which is, you know, I'm straining to stay on the bike and stay low and not have the wind claw at my arms and my shoulders. So I'm giving undue, you know, unwanted input into the bars, which is introducing head shake. You know, it's a brilliant freaking bike, man. It's a little more work. I did notice I was able to get it to do what I wanted, but it was a little more work, but it does it. If you do your part, it will do its part. So we're going to do the first oil change tomorrow, get that break-in oil out of there and give it the the blessing, and we're ready to go and start with the mods and stuff. So stay tuned for that stuff. We'll get a video up with Chris doing the ECU flash and maybe throw it on the dyno, do a before and after in the coming weeks. We'll do an exhaust install, let you know what I decide on. Probably just go with Delcovic. I'm just gonna do slip-ons. It has so much power, I don't need a full header system. I just wanna get the right sound out of it, and I wanna free up all that weight and get rid of that. Those bazookas are just massive. We'll clean up the back end a bit, throw a tail tidy on there, and get this thing rocking. So hopefully now we'll have some good video. We'll segue over to that. I was gonna smack Jake in the head. Love Jake. Jake, you're a good guy. But we were even joking about wanting to get good video. And I'm like, he's got the chin mounted camera. I'm like, are you sure it's on? Should we pull over when we hit 60 and head to Suchess? That's where I want to film. No, it's good. Pull up alongside. I'm like, you good? You want to pull over? No. I heard it beep. It's on. Yeah, we get up to the top of the mountain. He's like, oh yeah, it was in picture mode. It just took one picture. We lost all the video. And I'm like, I can't bust his balls too much, because I did the same thing once when we had a really good run down Route 9. We got to the end and I realized I left the fucking lens cap on the camera. So we were just talking about that. I was so cheesed. I was like, oh man. He's like, you want to go back down and run back up? I'm like, no, that's when it has to be organic. You just do it. When you're like, okay, we're going to go rerun it, that's when one of us will crash. Something will happen. So we just threw Wolf Pen Gap, and then we went over Richard Russell, but there was too much traffic to go fast. So we ended up going over to the southern tip of Lake Burton, and we picked up some twisty stuff. I wanted to try this not on the big sweepers. I know it can do that. I wanted to go on the tight, more technical stuff. And you'll see in the video, it does it. That is a fantastic bike. And I had none of the neck pain, none of the butt pain, none of the stuff that was going on in my shoulder that I had with the Tracer. So I should have bought one of these years ago. Anyway, folks, hope you enjoy. That's the 300-mile review so far. And let's cut to the other video, and you can see how it actually handles.